Good afternoon. I want to start here with a statement, and that is I stand by my statement from the other day, the one that was released. I fully support the investigation into the allegations, and as that investigation proceeds, I'll continue to work hard to promote and reinforce a culture of compliance in our organization, just like I have for the last 8 years. And I'll also continue to work hard on bringing us here at the University of Arizona the most successful basketball season we can possibly have this year. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you have about our team, season, and before I give you that opportunity, I'm centered here between two guys that obviously have great meaning towards our season. Dusan, I'll start with him on my right. These days, not too often do you have a chance to coach a senior, but a senior who's been through so many big games and has had such a prominent role as he's had through the first 3 years of his time. He's a great example of what college basketball is about, and that he's coming down the home stretch, received his degree here from the University of Arizona, and with English not being his first language. And I think Dusan's had a great off season. And I think he's set to have a great final year, like a lot of our recent players. Alonzo to my left, in my mind, he's positioned himself to be one of the best at what he does. He's been through his fair share of adversity. Him and I have talked a lot this off season. And I think our hope together is that he can have one of those seasons that are memorable, but where he can string it together from start to finish, day one all the way to the last game. And I think it's been very obvious that these two guys, and with some help from others, Parker in particular, they've given us some great leadership over the summer and here at the beginning of our season.
Alonzo, how have you tried to help this team maintain its focus through this last week to concentrate on basketball?
Just us coming together. Understand this is a tough situation. It's a little bit of adversity, but it'll help us grow stronger and maybe bring us closer together, and just try to be a leader and help us focus on what we can control. And that's how much better we can get now that practice is starting, and and try to lead this off to be the best year we can have.
I assume that being on the court for Sean, that helps you kind of go along with business as usual rather than have the distractions.
This is a fun and exciting time of year as a college basketball fan, and I think as a team, it's up until now, you're around each other on a weekly basis, but these guys will tell you that you're with them for a day, you're with them for back-to-back days, and all of a sudden you disappear. And for home visits, the recruiting aspect of things, sometimes just the fact that in the off season we're only allowed to be around each other for an extended period of time, a certain amount of time. Now, the difference is we're around each other a lot. We're around each other every day. Clearly, we're building our identity as a team, teaching our younger players. One of the things that's striking here early about our team, we do have a few returners, and these two guys are an example of that. But we also have quite a few newcomers, and I think we feel that just with the names of drills and the early part of practice, where freshmen, regardless of how talented they are, there is, I think, a change from where they once were to where they're at now. And in particular, even though we went to Spain this summer and we had some extra practices, they don't really reflect what we're doing right now. So we're relying on guys like Alonzo and Dusan to set the tone for what we do and how we do things as we've done here in the past.
Along those lines, maybe how you're holding up, given you have a big family, extended if you will. How are you holding up, given that you have an extended family around you?
Yeah, I'm focused on our season right now. I mean, I think, for us, we have a lot at stake as a basketball team. We have experience, we have size. Like I just mentioned, we have a lot of exciting newcomers. Like last year, and I talked a lot about this last year with Kobe, Rowley, and Lowry. They were talented newcomers as freshmen, but we were very fortunate. They were also great kids that worked hard every day. They were three of our best practice players. They didn't act as if they knew everything. They were willing to listen and to learn, and that was reflective. That helped us be successful through a lot of adversity in our non-conference last year. If you remember a year ago, you only remember the ending, but we had Alonzo who was out, Kadeem missed some games, Parker was out for over a month, and yet we were still able to hold serve, and I think the best kind of came out in us late in February, early in March. So with us, this year, obviously, we have one setback with Rowley, who will miss 8 to 12 weeks, depending on how it heals. He broke his foot playing a pickup game, so we'll work our way through that with him. But in the meantime, it gives some other people an opportunity to practice more, to get more reps. People like Emmanuel Acott, Brandon Randolph, they have a different role without Rowley being out there. And at the same time, we hope that Rowley will be able to heal and get back as fast as he can.
Can these practices almost be therapeutic, where you guys can just get on the court and focus on basketball and not the outside noise, so to speak, as far as like allegations and stuff like that?
Yes.
And how does that work?
I just answered it when he asked me the same question.
So when you look forward, when you go forward in the season, do you have any concern going forward that anybody could be declared ineligible, or are there sanctions that could hit this particular season?
I'm excited about our season, our team. I read my statement here a second ago. For us, it's about coaching our team. It's these guys about competing, practicing hard every day, and looking forward to the challenges ahead.
What did you learn about the team and the trip? More better than you thought? A lot of work to do?
Well, first of all, the trip, pales into comparison on the fact that we were part of, close, not part of, but happened to be in Barcelona when a terrorist attack came. That's the starting point for this team, that you go on a trip like that. And, clearly we had a chance to see Barcelona, play a couple of games. The practices, the time we spent together gave us a big advantage to get to know each other, and sets the tone for what we're doing now. But I think these guys will speak to that when you're in the city, then when that happens, puts a lot of different things in perspective.
Tucson, what has been your takeaway from this first week of practice?
Like Coach earlier said, obviously we have a great talent in this year's team. All freshmen that came this year are extremely talented players. I think we had a highly competitive first week of practice, and all guys are, ready to and happy to learn from older guys. I think it's up to us, Alonzo, Parker, and I, to, show them the system here in this program, to honor the process every day on and off the court. And I think we're in a good way. We are in a good way to have a great team, especially in March. So I'm really excited about this season, and I'm excited about our first games, and that's pretty much it.
Sean, you spoke really highly of some of the freshmen last season. Do you see some similarities in some of the newcomers this year?
Very much so, and I think Alonzo and Dusan will speak to that. Again, our freshman class a year ago of Lowry, Kobe, and Rowley were very instrumental in our team's success. Sometimes I look back at a year ago, the fact that we were 32-5. I don't know if we were ever, or I was ever, a part of a team that overcame so much with the injuries and the different things we fought through. But it wasn't just their talent as basketball players on the court. It was how much they loved the game and how easy they were to deal with, coaching them, the type of teammates that they were. And I think this year, this class is very reflective. I'll start with Alex Barcel. A lot of people in our state know Alex because he had such great success. But Alex is an incredible student first, and he takes care of business in the classroom, but it's become apparent early on here in practice. He has a toughness and a physicality about him that will really allow him to be successful as a freshman. And he could play either the one or the two, and we've played him at both positions here right now. I think the hardest adjustment from high school to our program is the point guard, because they're in charge of the 4 other players in addition to themselves. And Alex is going through that part, but these guys will tell you he's physically strong, he's tough, and he's going to be a really good addition to what we have. Brandon Randolph, If you've watched us in Spain, I think he showed his immense talent, not just because he can really shoot it, but athletically, he's caught me by surprise. I think as he's been a part of our strength and conditioning program and has worked over the last 4 or 5 months with Coach Rounds, his athleticism has kind of boosted, and he's more explosive, he's stronger, he does a lot of good things out on the court. Part of what the gift that Brandon has is he has an opportunity to play against Alonzo every day, and that's what you want in a team and in a program where, kind of like Dusan mentioned, your practices reflect your games because the people you're playing with and against are very good. So, this freshman class gives us a lot of depth. I'll continue. Emmanuel Acott, who is the last addition to this year's class, is as versatile of a player as we've had. He could play any number of positions, incredible passer, plays extremely hard. I think he has a chance to be a defensive player along the lines of Rondé Hollis Jefferson. Rondé could guard, I'll never forget Gonzaga at home, great game here in McHale. He guarded Pangos and Wiltshire, the 4-man or center and the point guard, all within a 4 or 5 minute period of time in overtime. Emmanuel Acott, he has the makings of being a defensive player like that. Ira Lee, very similar as I would describe Emmanuel. Again, just somebody that's a great teammate, very versatile in his approach. I think his athleticism would also stand out to these two guys. He's able to rebound, play multiple positions. And I keep coming back to the multiple positions because when young players can play more than one, it makes our team much, much deeper, and you can play through foul trouble and these moments that sometimes creep up. Adversity hits, you're more flexible because you can call on them to do more than just one thing. And then last but not least is DeAndre. I've never coached a player like DeAndre. I don't think these two guys have seen anybody like him. I don't know if you're aware, but he's probably right now, I'd say 7 foot, 260, and his body fat is probably close to 6%. And he had a max vertical jump here a couple weeks ago, I think 43.5 inches, which, to put that in perspective, with his size, that means he touches the top of the backboard. I've never seen anybody touch the top of the backboard. We've had Aaron Gordon, we've had Nick Johnson. In all due respect to these two guys, they don't jump as high as those two. But I think to see DeAndre's athleticism on somebody as big as he is, you don't oftentimes see that. So, DeAndre's learned how to work hard. Thing that I'm the most pleased about with him is, man, he's really just done everything we've asked of him on and off the court. I think if you talk to him, he'll tell you he's probably never worked harder. But that's one of the big reasons he came here is to be pushed and to put himself in that highly competitive environment, which I think in his case will take him to some great heights. But clearly, with some of the players that we've lost, this is a pivotal class for us. And Dylan Smith would be the other player that sometimes isn't talked about a lot, but Dylan practiced with us a year ago, and again, he brings a lot of intangibles to the table as another guard who's with us every single day. So, that's the group of guys that weren't here last year. We're excited about them, and as equally as I'm excited about the new talent, it oftentimes comes down to the leadership and the improvement of people like Alonzo and Dusan, because they have been through virtually everything you can be a part of in college basketball, and they're going to set the tone for us.
Coach Miller, you guys have been through a lot. What happened last week, what happened in Spain. How's this going to affect the season, and how do you keep the young players, I guess, away from the noise, and how is this going to affect their season this year?
One of the things that I believe you have a responsibility to do as a coach in college sports is making sure that the guys understand how to deal with the ups and the downs of our game, but really how it reflects life. It's not always going to be happy. It's not always going to go your way. Some of the things that you're going to strive for might not happen. But in many regards, how you deal with those times is a definition of really who you are. And in our day today, in 2018, it's a much different world. There's a lot of people that have voices through social media. And if you're an athlete at a very high level, an NFL player, an NBA player, I'm sure if you're competing for a college national championship as a football program, we all preach the same thing, and that is, you have to eliminate the clutter. You have to kind of understand that your circle has to be tight. You love people, you talk to people, but only we truly know what happens on a daily basis inside of our program. And this is an example for both of these guys to grow and learn. And in life, as they leave Arizona, they'll be much more suited to deal with things that happen. And in our best attempt to always have a great life and be perfect, sometimes the unexpected can happen.
Alonzo, what's the end goal for the team this season and as well as yourself?
Absolutely, for us to compete and go to a Final Four and win a national title. That's why we're all here, because of the great story tradition of this program. And we're here to carry that on. We understand it's not easy. It's going to take a lot of sacrifice. It's going to take a lot of us coming together. And we're excited for this journey we have together. And we're going to work really hard to try to make that come true.
Do you have something to prove, this being your third year, or you don't? You're just going to play basketball? I'm telling you specifically.
Well, the ultimate goal to prove is to prove that we can win a national championship here, which we're good enough to do. And we have a great coach that's leading us. And if we follow suit of him, then I think that we can have some great things happen for us.
Does this situation you guys are in compare at all to what you went through last year? Is this sort of the cloud that's over the team right now? Or is it totally
It's another thing that's some adversity for us. It's nothing we're new to. So we're going to focus on what we can control right now, and that's how much better we can get every single day in practice in a highly competitive environment and pushing each other and trying to get the best out of each other. And I think this will all bring us closer together in the end.
What's the number one thing, Alonzo, maybe that you learned last year from dealing with adversity?
You got to be strong. You got to learn how to fight back. It's not going to go your way. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough. But it's how you respond to it that shows who you are as a person. And I think that we have a chance to respond to this by focusing on us as a team and coming together and really pushing each other to new heights.
Sean, if everything holds true as it did before the season in terms of your predictions, pressures on being number one, if you are number one or number two?
I think the pressure to play in our program, the pressure to coach in our program really comes from within. We're in a high expectation environment. There's a lot of responsibility that goes with that. I think we all know what our own goals are, and I don't know if they've changed really a whole lot. It's it's like hitting a bullseye, though. It's you start by trying to hit the board, and then all of a sudden you get closer and closer. And it's almost sometimes you take for granted that you're right around it, but to actually hit that thing, you need some good fortune. You need a lot of working parts all moving in the same direction, and that's really the time of year that we're at right now, to put it all together. I think to learn more about each other, and to just take it one day at a time, one practice at a time, and continue to improve. I think we have great belief in that what we do works. And I think that we've knocked on the door of some really incredible, special things. And at the same time, and we talk a lot about this, we've also accomplished some great things as well. But this is a new beginning. The past is the past. And I think for us, moving forward is our quest. And to move forward, we clearly want to be, really successful, not only on the court, but also in the classroom.
Does Austin's role change as a result of both being out, or any other way you're reorganizing stuff?
At the moment, Austin Carroll is able to be out on the court.
So is he taking any more of what Book used to do, or I know he did a lot of stuff for you anyway, but I didn't know.
In our situation, we have a lot of different roles defined throughout our staff. You know that. Everybody from our graduate assistants to director of basketball operations, Ryan Reynolds. But right now, in the situation that we're in, Austin Carroll is allowed to be out on the court.
Well, one thing I didn't see in that statement was I was curious, there were references to multiple coaches possibly allegedly being involved, and I just wondered if that meant anything.
I'll talk, if you have any basketball question at all, I'll be more than happy to answer.
What about where you stand with your 2018 recruiting class and how that might look going forward?
We're hard at it. Obviously, you know this by NCAA rules. I'm not allowed to comment on anybody that hasn't signed a national letter of intent. But recruiting is the lifeblood of any program in college sports, and we have our eyes on that very closely every day. You know, I think the Pac-12 has really just done an incredible job on the basketball side of things. I don't know if we get enough credit for the number of great players that we've had in recent years. Last year's NBA draft is a great example. I mean, you start looking at the top between Markelle Fultz, Lowry Markkanen. I mean, those are two guys right there with freshman Lonzo Ball. 3 of the top 7 picks come from the Pac-12, all freshmen. You know, TJ Leaf is another one, and I think these guys are well aware of it. You know, every day, every game that you play, you're playing against somebody on that other team who's got a great opportunity to play in the NBA. Tremendous coaches, a lot of programs, and I think this year will be very similar to recent years where when it all ends and you watch this year's NBA draft, I think we'll have quite a few players that are picked. I think last year, us and the ACC were tied for the most picks out of the 60 that were picked, which is quite a testament to the talent and I think you know, the high power of the Pac-12. In terms of the round robin, that's what we decided years ago. It just happens to be this year's turn is that it's UCLA and SC versus ASU and Arizona, where we only play one time. So it's not as if that was done on purpose. That was more about the system that we're in. And a lot like some other things that have happened recently in college basketball in terms of scheduling, I believe that 2 conferences have already committed to 20 games. I'm sure that's something that we're looking at hard and to determine whether that's something as a conference that we'll do in the future. But right now the Pac-12 is very healthy when you consider the recent success as teams. Oregon going to the Final Four, you know, last year, and then obviously the recent NBA drafts speak for themselves.
Could you support playing 22 games? Just to follow that up, would you be up for playing 22 if it came to that in the Pac-12?
22 games?
I mean, if you played a whole double round robin, yeah.
You know, we haven't talked about that, so I'm not sure.
So last year in the tournament, especially against Xavier in the last 8 minutes of the game, you were really asking for the ball quite a bit down the stretch, willing to take the big shot. Do you see anybody else on the team that has that kind of personality about them that's not afraid of taking big shots when necessary?
I think we have guys that are plenty capable of being able to make shots and make big shots when the opportunity arises to them. I think that's kind of our question to answer about whether a guy has that mindset and how we're still learning about each other a lot. But I understand we'll be executing well at that time and trying to figure out who's to take that shot when that time comes.
And it's been said in the last month or so that you probably have the best team you've ever had going into a season. Your assessment on that, and can you maybe expound on that if you believe that?
You know, I'm not sure if that's the case right now. I think we have the makings of something special, but you know, it's just too early to tell. You know, there's a lot of factors, some of which is, you know, we all need good fortune. You know, Rowley getting injured isn't something that you would want to have happen to someone who made a decision to return to school. And, you know, you have to have health. You have to have younger players that grow by leaps and bounds each week because our game has never been more for the younger player. You know, freshmen, a lot like last year, and we've used this example a couple of times in this session. If you really think about the role that Lowry, Kobe, and Rowley played on last year's success, it was instrumental. So it's a balancing act on this year's team. I do think, Steve, the one thing that we have going for us is we have that blend that you want to have, and that is youthful talent, willing learners that are youthful, but also the veterans, guys that have been through the battles, guys like Dusan, Parker, and Alonzo that have been in big games, know how hard practice is, know what it feels like to play a game on the road in college basketball. So I think it's how all that comes together, the blend of the new and the old, will determine if our team has a chance to be special. We're certainly not there yet, but hopefully we can get there.
You were talking about recruiting before. Do you still expect to sign maybe 2 or 3 guys in November, or do you think the way things are going might be something you pick up in the spring more when things kind of play out? Or?
You know, I'm not sure about that.
Dusan, what is your biggest goal this season, besides individually?
I mean, pretty much, like Alonzo said, in order for me to fulfill my individual goals, we need to have a successful year as a team. So just competing for the national championship and going to the Final Four would be our ultimate goal, and that's something that we all, if we went there, that we're gonna all have a benefit from there. So.
I think Kadeem Allen's a great example of sometimes what we talk a lot about, but isn't often talked enough about, in the media. And Kadeem, if you think about him, he averaged less than 10 points per game, and yet he got picked in the NBA draft. And he's a senior. Not only is he a senior, but he's a redshirt senior. And everybody kind of speculates that the older you are, the less likely you have a chance to be successful. So I think the last part of it is, and obviously, Kadeem's with the Boston Celtics right now, but the feedback that I've gotten, he's done, a great job. They love him. And part of what they love about him is he has all the intangibles of a winner. And he was a part of some great success. I think back to the first year, and Dusan would have been here with him when Kadeem came in. There were times we wondered if he was going to be able to make it at Arizona. He was a long way from home. School's difficult. The challenges of being able to learn our system. Is he a point guard? Is he a two? But he grew about as much as any player that we've ever had. And I think to see him get what he has on the table right now through all of his hard work and sacrifice, nobody embodied the qualities of, with team success comes the individual accolades, more than Kadeem. The way he practiced, as unselfish as he was, cared about one thing, winning. And you see where that got him. Again, to be a senior and to average less than 10 points a game, be 6'2", and have a chance to be in the NBA is quite a testament to him, and it's something we're very, very proud of. And as I look at Alonzo and Dusan, the longer you're here in college, you learn some things that I think will be invaluable for their careers afterwards. It's not just being able to shoot or rebound, but it's being able to handle adversity, being able to learn how to work hard every day, sacrifice. And that's really what the beginning of a season's about, to teach our team that and hopefully bring us together.
I know it's early, but when you talk about missing Rowley, you maybe could look at the roster and say, well, maybe that is Brandon or Emmanuel a bigger opportunity. Is that in play, or who else do you kind of look at to maybe help you for those 8 to 12 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, certainly Brandon and Emmanuel, they play either wing position, and both guys are not only incredibly talented, but have they've embraced everything that we've asked them to, on and off the court, and they've hit the ground running. Probably saw that a little bit by how both of those guys played in Spain. To me, they're ready for college. Just a matter of them continuing to learn the system. But the thing that I love about our practice environment at the moment is we have battles. When red versus blue happens, it has great meaning, and it's not tilted in favor of one team over the next. It's very balanced. And I think over time that'll bring out the best in those younger guys to get them the most ready as we can.
Alonzo, kind of touching on what Coach talked about adversity, how do you feel it can help as a team and yourself as a leader on this team, bring this team together a little closer?
What's going on right now?
Both, whether it's an injury on the court or something off the court, like what's going on as well.
Just we have an understanding in our program that when we're faced with adversity or somebody goes down, you have the next man up. So that next man in that position, understanding that it's Rowley, it happens to be Brandon and Emmanuel. So we understand they're going to have to come along a little bit faster. But with us pushing hard in practice and competing at a high level, bringing them along faster, they're going to be able to help us a lot early on, and it's great for them. And hopefully that down the road, them having to learn a little bit faster and progress a little bit faster, that when Rowley joins us at some point, which he will, we'll just be that much better as a basketball team.
Is the Atlantis thing the best case scenario for Rowley, or are you expecting after that?
We're not there. 8 to 12 weeks is pretty much, and I know that's best case scenario would be 2 months from basically a week ago. Worst case would be more towards 3 months from a week ago.
Coach Mallon, what do you say to Wildcat fans that have concerns about the basketball program, concerns about you? How do you make them feel good about this program after all you guys have gone through?
We're just gonna work hard to have the best team we can, to do things the right way, like I mentioned in my statement. And I think to make everybody proud, it's going to be about watching a team grow and become something special. And I think there's a lot that goes into that. But it's something that we're working towards already, started last week, and we're going to continue to do the best that we can, like we have really through the 8 years that I've been here.
Yeah, we got time for a couple more.
Sean, with recruiting in a general sense, have you had to change the way you pitch or sell the program here recently?
No.
What kind of impact for anybody here? What kind of impact does Coach Romar had on the program, in your opinion, in practice? What do you guys have gone through, I guess, in terms of the offense, the defense? What would you say his biggest impact on this program has been so far?
Alonzo, why don't you start on that one?
I think we had another coach that's well respected. You know, has had great success in the Pac-12. Coached great players, pros, and I think he gives us another element to our coaching staff. You know, that can really teach us some things, and you know, kind of tweak things and give us a different perspective of things. And also having a guy like him who's competed against us for so long, against Coach Miller in the Arizona program, he sees things in a different light than we would at looking at ourselves. So I think that's only a bonus for us.
Tucson, do you have any thoughts on that?
Just to add up to what Alonzo said, you know, obviously Coach Romar is a great coach, and you know, in practice he helps, you know, every player, and personally to me, he gave me like so much advices since he came here. You know, the last 3 years he was kind of on the other side. He was watching me from the different perspective, and now when he's on our team, he can, you know, give us that extra advice. And I think having him on this year's team is going to benefit all of us.
Tucson, what's the biggest change you've seen from DeAndre Ayton from the time he got here to right now?
I mean, since he came here, he has been working really hard in the weight room. So when he showed up here, his body was you know, well mature. He was strong and, you know, fast. But not even now, he continued to work, you know, every day, and now he looks even stronger. And in practice, when I play against him, it's a great challenge for me, because he's like Coach said, he's one of the he's a unique player, and I think playing against him is gonna benefit me and other big guys. Also, you know, he just works hard every day, on and off the court. He does everything that you ask him to. And you know, he's a great guy, and he's gonna help this year's team, 100%.
Sean, just to clarify, I'm sorry, you said Austin's on the court, but do you expect to hire another assistant or a GA or somebody like that this season, or being as you have both kind of on leave and he's in limbo right now, or do you wait until they settle?
We're just not there yet. You know, we're right now kind of in the moment, and you know, right now how we're doing things is Austin's able to be out on the court.
Sean, how much has it helped you practicing against a guy who's an NBA stretch for 1 year, and then now a guy who's this ridiculous athlete in DeAndre the next year?
Yeah, it helps me, you know, to be more versatile in terms of defending, you know, player outside of the 3-point line and inside. But also, I think it's gonna help me to when we play together. Because last year I had Lowry, who was a great outside player, perimeter player. And he used to stretch the floor last year, and now we have DeAndre, who can do those things both, you know, outside of the 3-point line and inside. And I think that's going to be a great challenge for all teams that we're going to play against this year, because it's not going to be easy to guard both of us, you know, at the same time. And I'm really excited to play alongside with DeAndre.
We got time for one more.
I guess for anyone, Parker was saying in August that Coach Romar's helped you guys get up and down the floor after big sicknesses. Is improving in transition a point of emphasis?
I mean, obviously, when we come here, we're gonna play defense at a high level, but we were still looking to push the ball always. I think Coach Romar gives us a different spin and gives us a different perspective on how to do it and how he did it when he was at Washington. And it's kind of about Coach Miller and Coach Romar, you know, combining their basketball minds and finding the best transition attack for us, and how we're going to do it this year based on the weapons and the team that we have this year.
You know, Lorenzo, he adds a lot of things on the court, but to me, the greatest gift that he gives all of us is just who he is as a person off the court. You know, he's somebody that has been through virtually everything you can be a part of in this game. He's an NBA player himself. He won a national championship as an assistant coach in the Pac-10 at the time at UCLA. He's been a head coach for 21 consecutive seasons. You know, he's been a head coach for 15 seasons in the Pac-12. Like Alonzo alluded to, you know, the perspective that we gained from him is some things that they really appreciated about our style, that they worried about, and maybe some things that they would try to take advantage of. So it's almost like, you know, you get a chance to be inside the opponent's mind. And he also has a tremendous familiarity with the Pac-12. But, you know, above and beyond that, just a voice of reason, you know, somebody that has, I think, really had a tremendous impact on everybody, our staff and our team, because you can't help but respect him as a person. And to have him with us is very meaningful.
All right.